Today on the CTV News at 5, terror in a movie theater.
I froze up. I was scared. I honestly thought I was gonna die.
12 killed, dozens wounded when a gunman opens fire at a U.S. theater. Plus,
there are no words to describe the grief that I am feeling right now.
Remembering Raj, the victim of a police-related shooting, is laid to rest. And airshow action. The Alberta International Air Show is ready to hit the sky.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. Flags are at half-mast across the U.S. tonight in honor of the victims of a senseless mass shooting in Aurora, Colorado. A 24-year-old med student is in custody, and police believe he meticulously planned the attack at a movie theater on the opening night of the new Batman movie to ensure a high death toll.
The screams and terror inside the midnight premiere of the latest Batman film weren't a reaction to the action happening on screen, but from the hail of bullets fired by a rampaging gunman.
And then you just kept hearing it, bam, 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 bam.
Eyewitnesses say the gunman first tossed what appeared to be a smoke grenade, then started firing at the crowd.
All I could think was, if I stand up, he's gonna shoot, because that's what he was doing, and I was just trying to think how I was gonna get my kids out of there.
Some moviegoers were confused and thought that the gunfire was coming from the action-packed movie.
I see a guy right next to me, a gentleman like sitting right next to me, getting shot, and then that's when I realized that this is not like part of the movie. There's a gunman and he's shooting everyone.
Eyewitness Jennifer Seeger said the gunman was dressed like a SWAT team member, wearing a gas mask and a protective bulletproof vest.
He ended up shooting people behind me, and the bullet casings were just on my forehead. They were burning. I just smelled gunshots.
The suspect, 24-year-old James Holmes, was arrested as he left the theater.
He was apprehended with 3 weapons in the car.
According to one police official, Holmes told investigators he was the Joker, a supervillain character in the Batman movies.
Clearly looks like a deranged individual. He had his hair painted red.
Holmes told police his apartment was booby-trapped. SWAT teams found flammable and explosive materials inside his home and evacuated the 5 surrounding buildings. We're also learning more about the alleged gunman. ABC News confirms he purchased all of these guns legally in the last few months, and he also has a degree in neuroscience. Brandy Hitt, ABC News, Aurora, Colorado. Now, Lethbridge movie theater staff wouldn't comment on the tragedy. South of the border tonight, the movie theater chain is donating a portion of their proceeds to the Red Cross. And the death of a British soldier at a Medicine Hat nightclub has been deemed accidental. Stuart McAllister died after falling downstairs at Gringo's nightclub in October of 2008. The province has now released a fatality inquiry into the death, and it shows excessive consumption of alcohol and an unsafe establishment as factors in his death. McAllister tripped on his way down the stairs and then hit his head on the concrete wall. He later died in Calgary Hospital. The report recommended changes to prevent similar deaths, including better alcohol consumption monitoring, getting rid of shooters, more frequent safety inspections, and having servers and staff take courses in responsible serving of alcohol. A 26-year-old man who was shot and killed in a police-related shooting was laid to rest today. Members of the Canadian Bhutanese Society in Lethbridge say they are both shocked and saddened by the tragic death and hope an independent investigation will provide them answers and closure. Daryl Rummold reports.
Overcome by grief, the family of Raj Puri performs the traditional Bhutanese ceremony of remembrance inside a packed chapel at Cornerstone Funeral Home. Friends and family describe 26-year-old Raj Puri as a warm, loving person who was ready for a fresh start in a new, safe country, immigrating to Canada in November of 2011, working as a farmhand.
I cannot possibly imagine the shock and sorrow that has been thrust on the family. Please accept my sincerest condolences and know that we are all here with you through it all.
He was shot and killed late Sunday night after officers were called to this home in West Lethbridge for a domestic disturbance. Friends tell CTV Puri was intoxicated, suffering from self-inflicted injuries. He didn't understand English well and likely didn't know what the officers were saying.
There are no words to describe the grief that I am feeling right now at this unfortunate and untimely death of your son and our friend Devraj, the Bhutanese community of Lethbridge, is with you.
Immigrant Services will continue to support the family and other members of the Bhutanese community through this tragic situation. Members of the Bhutanese community say this incident raises serious questions for them over whether or not they should even call police for help going forward for fear of something like this happening again. They're eagerly awaiting the investigation results by the Alberta Serious Incident Response Team and hope those answers don't lead them to more questions. Daryl Rummelt, CTV News, Lethbridge.
The incident is now being investigated by the Alberta Serious Incident Response Team. Well, many people in a Cranbrook courtroom sat stunned yesterday as they listened to a father forgive his son's abductor. Randall Hopley is the man who snatched 3-year-old Keenan Hebert from his Sparwood home last fall. CTV News has obtained a videotape of a police interrogation played at Hopley's sentencing hearing.
You took my son from me, and I forgive you. I forgive you. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Paul Hebert even offered to shake Hopley's hand. Last September, Hopley snatched Keenan from his bedroom. 4 days later, while authorities and volunteers searched the area, Hopley returned Keenan to his home. In the video, Hopley tells Hebert and the officer he could never have assaulted little Keenan.
I would not sexually assault your son. I just couldn't bring myself to it if I did. I might as well take myself out to the bush and just shoot myself and be done with it.
In March, Hopley pleaded guilty to a number of charges related to the kidnapping. The Crown is asking for a 60-day assessment to see if he should be declared a dangerous offender. Hopley has several previous convictions on his record, including one for sexual assault more than 25 years ago. The sentencing hearing will resume on August the 9th. And a 7-month-old baby girl was rescued from a locked car in Cranbrook. RCMP were called around 3:30 yesterday afternoon about a baby that had been crying for about half an hour inside a locked car. Temperatures were reaching into the 30s, so RCMP quickly broke into the vehicle and removed the baby. They kept the baby cool with wet cloths and air conditioning while they drove to the hospital. The baby was then turned over to medical staff, who then found the baby to be in good health. The baby's mother had apparently made a trip into a business and left the baby inside the car with its air conditioner running. However, the air conditioning had turned off before she could return. RCMP in the Elk Valley hope that someone can help them track down the person who took aim at an Elkford area motel and then fired a shot from a high-powered rifle. Investigators say the bullet tore through the outer wall of the motel and straight through 3 interior walls before embedding itself in the bathtub in the suite. The room was occupied at the time, but fortunately no one was hurt. Police haven't said if they believe the shooting was random or targeted, and they are urging anyone with information to please come forward. A Coaldale man will stand trial later this year on fraud and theft charges. 46-year-old Rodney Maxwell faces several charges, including theft, fraud, and forgery. Investigators allege the former branch manager of JustCan stole over $257,000 from the company between 2005 and 2010. Maxwell's 2-day trial has been scheduled in Fort Macleod for December 10th and the 11th. Okay, David. Busy weekend in southern Alberta. We've got the air show in Lethbridge, Rum Runner Days in Crow's Nest Pass, South Country Fair in Fort Macleod, and of course, weather will be a big factor for all of them.
And it's all looking good after tonight. We've got some showers and thunder showers rumbling through tonight. In fact, we've got a severe thunderstorm watch out for southern Alberta, including Lethbridge. This watch has been in effect for much of the afternoon, and we've also got a watch out for southeastern British Columbia. So far, nothing has shown up, but there are storms coming up from Montana, and later in the show, I'll tell you when and where they're going to strike. Thanks, David. Well, the Alberta International Air Show is set to take to the skies, promising fans bigger, better, faster, and more exciting aviation entertainment. This afternoon, the pilots gave media a sneak peek at what these planes can do. Alicia Fieldberg reports.
It may be the fastest and loudest year ever for Alberta's International Air Show. Organizers say the show features 11 jets and more explosions than it's had in the past 5 years.
The L-39 Firecat, which was a huge success last year, is coming back. He likes to fly through a 200-foot wall of flames, so that might be interesting to see.
The chance to see airplanes like this 1941 Harvard up close and personal and in the air is the opportunity of a lifetime for people of all ages.
Well, that's our history, so we like to go out and show these to the vets. I took a vet out yesterday who came in from the UK who trained actually over in Claire's home and put a tear in his eye. So that's part of what we do. And then the other end of that is that spectrum is the kids. You know, there's up-and-coming pilots.
As well as the aerial show, there's the chance to take helicopter rides and check out static displays of many private, corporate, and military aircraft. The show is debuting an all-day format to offer even more aviation history and entertainment. Organizers say they always have to strive to soar above spectators' expectations each year.
It is a huge challenge. We're actually already looking for acts for next year. You know, we don't usually book things a year in advance, but we're realizing we have to start doing that now because there's competition for some of these performers.
Alicia Fieldberg, CTV News, Lethbridge.
The show runs Saturday and Sunday from 8:30 until 5. Now, if you're heading to the Milk River area this weekend, an advisory from Alberta Health Services to stay out of the Milk River at Writing on Stone Provincial Park. There are elevated levels of fecal coliform currently present in the river level. They were found during routine testing, and officials say the water could cause skin, ear, and eye infections. Well, Fort Whoop-Up has reopened to tourists after being shut down for more than 3 days because of Tuesday night's rain. Crews worked on a washed-out hill where rainwater flooded earlier this week. A drainage pipe in the area was broken and stormwater washed into the fort. The water left a muddy mess on the grounds and leaked inside the buildings. A section of the floor had to be torn out because of the damage. More than a dozen volunteers helped move artifacts at the center. There was no permanent damage to the artifacts, but the 3-day closure comes at a busy time.
Would be, it's our busiest time of the year with the end of the Calgary Stampede, so it's a lot like Walmart having to close on Christmas Eve.
We did have a group on Wednesday that was supposed to be coming to visit the fort. They were a group of, well, it was a field trip basically from Brooks that was coming down that we had to call up to the Galt Museum, and our friends up there were able to give them a tour of the Galt Museum instead because we weren't able to bring them through the flooded facility at that point in time.
Parks Canada has issued a wildlife alert for the mountain parks. The alert covers Banff, Yoho, and Kootenay National Parks. Parks Canada is asking drivers to use extra caution and not feed wildlife. Many bears, like these grizzlies, are in valley bottoms searching for food close to roads. 7 black bears have been killed on roads in the parks so far this year. And Parks Canada also says wolves are at risk. Recently on Highway 93S in Kootenay National Park, some people approached a wolf and fed it. Lethbridge City crews are asking for your patience as they work to improve driving conditions on one of the city's main arteries. There were some long delays on eastbound Whoop-Up today. Milling work is just wrapping up on Whoop-Up Drive, and paving is expected to start in the middle of next week. City officials say no more than one lane at a time will be closed as work continues, but they do ask for your patience as they work diligently to finish the upgrades. On the markets today, the TSX ended its 5-day winning streak. On the plus side, here are the final numbers.